She was asked one simple yes or no question, and what she didn't say might be more important than anything else.
Disgrace. Now, Director Gabbard, I'd like to reground this in your core responsibilities. Under the law, you are responsible for providing national intelligence to the President, correct?
Yes.
And to the heads of executive branch departments and agencies, yes?
Yes.
And to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and senior military commanders?
Across the IC, yes.
And to the Senate and the House and relevant committees, correct?
Yes.
And the law states that the national intelligence you provide to Congress, quote, should be timely, objective, and independent of political considerations, correct?
Yes.
And you noted in your opening statement you're here fulfilling a statutory responsibility and that your testimony, quote, represents the IC's assessment of threats,
right.
Correct? That opening statement, as submitted to the committee in advance of this hearing, stated that as a result of last summer's airstrikes, quote, Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated, end quote, correct?
That's right.
And is that in fact the assessment of the intelligence community?
Yes.
So the assessment of the intelligence community is that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated by last summer's airstrikes.
Yes.
In the opening statement you submitted to the committee last night also stated, quote, there has been no effort since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability, end quote, correct?
That's right.
And that's the assessment of the intelligence community.
Yes.
The White House stated on March 1st of this year that this war was launched and was, quote, a military campaign to eliminate the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, end quote. That's a statement from the White House. Quote, the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime. Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was an imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime?
The intelligence community assessed that Iran maintained the intention to rebuild and to continue to grow their nuclear enrichment capability.
Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, yes or no?
Senator, the only person who can determine what is and is not an imminent threat is the president.
False. This is the worldwide threats hearing where you present to Congress national intelligence, timely, objective, and independent of political considerations. You've stated today that the intelligence community's assessment is that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated and that, quote, there had been no efforts since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability. Was it the intelligence community's assessment that nevertheless, despite this obliteration, there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime? Yes or no?
It is not the intelligence community's responsibility to determine what is and is not an imminent threat.
Okay.
That is up to the president based on a volume of information that he receives.
It is precisely your responsibility to determine what constitutes a threat to the United States. This is the worldwide threats hearing where, as you noted in your opening testimony, quote, you represent the IC's assessment of threats. You are here to represent the IC's assessment of threats. That's a quote from your own opening statement. And so my question is, as you're here to present the IC's assessment of threats, was it the assessment of the intelligence community that, as the White House claimed on March 1st, there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime? Yes or no?
Once again, Senator, the intelligence community has provided the inputs that make up this annual threat assessment.
You won't answer the question.
It is the nature of the imminent threat that the president has to make that determination based on a collection and volume of information and intelligence that he is provided with.
You're here to be timely, objective, and independent of political considerations.
Exactly what I'm doing.
No, you're evading a question because to provide a candid response to the committee would contradict a statement from the White House.
This moment right here is what accountability is supposed to look like. A direct question, a yes or no answer, and yet, no answer. What you just watched is a United States Senator pressing Tulsi Gabbard on something that goes way beyond politics. It's about truth. It's about intelligence, and it's about whether the American people are being told the same story behind closed doors as they are in public. Let's break this down. According to her own testimony, the intelligence community assessed that Iran's nuclear program had been obliterated. Not weakened, not delayed, obliterated. And not only that, she also confirmed there had been no effort to rebuild it. So, naturally, the next question becomes obvious. If the program was destroyed, if there's no rebuilding effort, then how could there be an imminent nuclear threat? the exact justification used by the White House to launch military action. That's not a complicated question. That's a basic logical one. But instead of a clear answer, what we get is deflection. We get a shift from intelligence to presidential authority, from facts to power. And that's where this becomes deeply concerning, because the role of the intelligence community isn't to justify decisions after they're made. It's to provide independent, objective truth, especially when it contradicts political narratives. That's literally written into the law. Timely, objective, independent of political considerations. But when a simple yes or no question can't be answered, it raises a bigger issue. Is intelligence guiding policy, or is policy shaping intelligence? Because history has shown us, over and over again, what happens when those lines get blurred. From past wars to global conflicts. When intelligence is bent to fit a narrative instead of informing it, the consequences are real. Lives are affected, decisions escalate, and trust erodes. And that's exactly what you're seeing in this exchange. A senator trying to pin down the truth, and an intelligence official carefully avoiding a contradiction. Not because the answer is unknown, but because the answer might conflict with what's already been said publicly. And that's the danger. Because once truth becomes negotiable, everything else follows. If you want more breakdowns like this, where we go beyond the headlines and get to what really matters, subscribe to Blue Voice, like this video, and share your thoughts below. Because moments like this, they reveal more than any press release ever will.